Brittany and Sarah worked at a restaurant in downtown Colorado Springs. Brittany had great customer service skills and really strived to make sure customers had the best experience while eating at the restaurant. In turn, she averaged around $150 in tips per day. Sarah, on the other hand, was not as good of a waitress as Brittany. She tried, but she was always messing up orders and never really had a smile on her face, so she only got about $50 a day in tips. The manager noticed the difference in tips, and he decided that they would combine the tips and split them at the end of the day. Brittany, who had been working hard, had to go from $150 a day to only $100 a day, while Sarah had gotten a raise for doing nothing. And since she was getting a part of Brittany's tips, she lost the initiative to work hard and try to get better. And ended up getting worse. Brittany was not happy with this, and it caused her motivation to go down. Due to the fact that she was working so hard just to split her tips with Sarah, she decided that she was going to work as bad as Sarah. And eventually, this brought both of their tips down. And for each of them, before you know it, people just stopped coming to the restaurant due to the horrible customer service, and the restaurant was forced to close. This left Brittany and Sarah without jobs. How many of you feel like Brittany? How many of you feel like Sarah? Hi, I'm Louie Scott, and today I'm going to talk to you about the negative effects of welfare. Due to the amount of money the government spends each year and the number of people on welfare, it should only be for a limited time, harder to get, and should never be free. First, let's start with some numbers of people on welfare and how much the government spends per year on the welfare budget. According to statistics.com, welfare statistics, over $130 billion of your tax money goes to the people on welfare per year. Over 46 million Americans are on food stamps. According to townhall.com, 12 programs providing food aid, 10 housing assistance programs, 10 programs funding social services, 9 educational assistance programs, 8 programs providing cash assistance, 8 vocational training programs, 7 medical assistance programs, 3 energy and utility assistance programs, and 2 child care and child development programs. The Census Bureau showed that 108,592,000 people were on some sort of welfare program in 2011, yet only 101,716,000 people held a full-time job for the whole year. That's crazy. More people were on welfare than that held a full-time job for a year. Now that you know the number of people on welfare and how much the government spends on it, let's look at the effects that welfare has on people. According to heritage.org, the effects on welfare reform, welfare dependency, is one of the most negative effects of welfare. Welfare is meant to be a temporary fix, not a permanent one, but many people who get on welfare tend to stay on welfare. Many Americans who get on welfare lose their strive to want to get better and work harder because they are already living the same way us hardworking Americans are doing for doing less work. Most kids that grow up on welfare will end up on welfare when they are older. Our parents are usually our biggest role models, and if we grow up seeing them be lazy and get handouts for doing less work, we tend to do less work and expect handouts. If our parents are hard workers and tend to teach us how to be hard workers and work for everything we get, then we tend to be hard workers. Studies show that kids who are on welfare are more likely to engage in criminal behavior than those who are not on welfare. Now that you understand the effects and the numbers, let's look at some of the solutions to cutting back on welfare. Welfare needs to be harder to get. What I mean by that is that you need to be able to prove that you really actually need the welfare. If you have non-essentials like cable, internet, cell phones, gym memberships, etc., you don't need welfare. Welfare should be an all last resort that you go and get. I feel that you must also be subject to on-the-spot drug tests at any time if you are on welfare. I feel that if you need money for welfare, you should not be spending money on drugs. Welfare should also be time limited. You should only be allowed to be on welfare for a maximum of 6 months every 4 years. And also, welfare should never be free. If someone needs welfare because they aren't making enough money at their job or they are unemployed, they should have to work for their welfare. It can be anything from picking up trash on the side of the road to helping build and clean schools and government buildings. Now that you have seen, due to the amount of money the government spends each year and the number of people on welfare, it should only be for a limited amount of time, harder to get, and should never be free.